It's best to avoid quiet people. After watching this video, you'll understand why. Stoicism. In a world filled with endless noise, constant chatter, and an overwhelming influx of opinions, the quiet ones often fade into the background. But what if I told you that it's actually best to avoid quiet people? It may sound strange, even contradictory, especially when we're taught to value calm and composed individuals. However, there's a hidden layer beneath their silence, and once you uncover it, your perspective on the quiet people around you will change dramatically. Welcome to Stoic in Your Life, your guide to navigating the complexities of modern life through the ancient wisdom of Stoicism. Today we're diving deep into the often misunderstood world of quiet individuals. Why should you be cautious around them? What unspoken truths lie within their silence? And how can these truths impact your relationships, your work, and even your own personal growth? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why it's best to keep a certain distance from quiet people, but also how to protect yourself from the hidden influences they may have on your life. This is not about fear. It's about awareness, understanding, and navigating the subtle yet powerful dynamics that silence can create. Let's explore this together. 1. Why should you avoid them? Quiet people often carry an air of mystery, and this enigmatic quality can be both intriguing and intimidating. A famous psychologist once categorized personalities into two main types: extroverted and introverted. Extroverts are those who thrive on social interaction, who feel energized in crowds and who are quick to speak up. Introverts, on the other hand, are more reserved, often preferring solitude or smaller, more intimate gatherings where they can observe rather than dominate the conversation. It's not easy to say which of these personality types is superior because both have their strengths and weaknesses. However, based on my observations in both professional and personal settings, if you are someone who naturally engages in social interactions and values the give and take of conversation, I strongly advise caution when dealing with quiet people. You might wonder why. Well, the truth is, there are usually two main reasons why someone might be quiet. The first reason is a lack of experience or confidence, often seen in younger individuals or those who are new to a particular environment. These people might feel anxious, overwhelmed, or unsure of what to say, fearing that they might say the wrong thing. Social anxiety is a common struggle, even for those who might appear confident around people they know well. They may be lively and talkative in familiar settings, but around strangers they become more reserved, their words less frequent and more guarded. The second type of quiet person is perhaps more intriguing and more dangerous. These are the introspective individuals who choose their words carefully, speaking only when they deem it necessary. Their silence is not born of fear or uncertainty, but of deep thought and observation. They spend much of their time listening, absorbing the emotions, thoughts, and actions of those around them. This gives them a unique ability to judge situations and people with precision. When they do speak, their words are often laden with insight and carry significant weight. This kind of quiet individual can be especially challenging to interact with, particularly if you lack strong communication skills or the ability to read between the lines. These quiet, observant people are often underestimated, and that's where the danger lies. Many assume that those who don't speak much are socially inept or lack the ability to assert themselves. But in reality, these individuals are often incredibly perceptive and intelligent. They speak less not because they have nothing to say, but because they are waiting for the right moment, the moment when their words will have the most impact. It's not uncommon for them to surprise others with the depth of their knowledge or the sharpness of their insights when they finally do choose to speak. This type of person can be formidable in any setting, whether it's in a personal relationship, a workplace, or a social group. Their silence can be disarming, making it easy for others to underestimate them, only to be caught off guard when they finally decide to voice their thoughts. This calculated silence is a powerful tool, often giving them an upper hand in situations where others might be too quick to speak or act. So, what can we learn from this? First, It's essential to recognize that silence can be as powerful as speech, if not more so. In a world where we are often encouraged to speak our minds and assert our opinions, the quiet ones remind us that sometimes saying less can actually achieve more. Their ability to observe and reflect before acting is a trait that can lead to more thoughtful decisions and more meaningful interactions. However, it's also a reminder to be cautious. When dealing with someone who is consistently quiet, it's important not to mistake their silence for weakness or disinterest. Instead, try to understand what their silence might signify. Are they analyzing the situation? Are they waiting for the perfect moment to contribute? Or are they perhaps withholding their thoughts for a reason? These are all possibilities that should be considered. In modern life, where communication is key to almost every aspect of our lives, whether in business, personal relationships, or social interactions, understanding the dynamics of silence can be incredibly valuable. It can help you navigate difficult conversations, avoid misunderstandings, and even protect yourself from those who might use silence as a strategic tool. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This wisdom is particularly relevant when dealing with quiet people. By listening more and speaking less, you might just uncover the deeper truths that are hidden in their silence. And by understanding the power of silence, you can also learn to use it to your advantage in your own life. So, next time you encounter a quiet person, don't be quick to dismiss them. Instead, pay attention to what they aren't saying, and be aware that their silence might hold more power than you realize. This understanding could be the key to more successful interactions and a deeper awareness of the dynamics at play in your personal and professional life. 2. They don't engage in unnecessary chatter. Consider the lion. It walks with purpose, doesn't jump around frivolously, and doesn't wag its tail for no reason. This is how quiet people often move through life, steady, deliberate, and with an air of dignity that commands respect. Like the lion's roar that silences the jungle, when quiet people speak, their words carry weight, capturing the attention of everyone around them. It's not that they are unfriendly or unsociable, but rather they don't engage in unnecessary chatter or superficial actions. They understand the value of silence and choose their words carefully, making every sentence count. I recall a time when an introverted colleague surprised everyone during a meeting. He was usually the quietest in the room, rarely participating in group discussions. But when he did speak, his insights were razor sharp, cutting to the core of the issue in ways that others hadn't considered. It wasn't that he lacked opinions. He simply didn't feel the need to contribute to conversations that didn't matter. His silence was not a sign of disinterest, but of deep thought and observation. This kind of quiet strength is what often sets introverts apart and makes them so formidable. Statistics show that nearly 70% of the world's most successful people are introverts. Consider Albert Einstein, the genius physicist, or Warren Buffett, the legendary investor. Steve Jobs, the visionary founder of Apple, was also known for his introverted nature. Despite being a powerful speaker during product launches, Jobs preferred solitude in his personal life, enjoying activities like reading, watching movies, and meditating. He had few friends and rarely kept in touch with family, yet his influence on the world was undeniable. This shows that introverts are not lacking in communication skills. They simply choose to engage in conversations that matter, avoiding the superficial interactions that many extroverts thrive on. Extroverts often pride themselves on their ability to make friends easily and talk at length. But this constant need for social interaction can sometimes be a sign of insecurity. While they may seem confident on the surface, their inner worlds may lack the stability and depth that introverts possess. A British psychologist once noted that quiet people are often better at recognizing and filtering information than their talkative counterparts. They focus on maintaining deep, meaningful relationships and engage in thoughtful exchanges with those they find intellectually stimulating. If a quiet person doesn't engage with you, it might not be because they are shy or uninterested. It could be that they don't find the conversation meaningful. This might seem harsh, but for many introverts, it's simply the truth. They reveal different facets of their personality depending on the situation and the people they are with. Take, for instance, the story of a famous comedian who once said, "On stage, I'm outgoing and full of energy, but off stage, I'm a completely different person, introverted, quiet, and uncomfortable in social situations." This highlights a key aspect of many quiet people. They spend a lot of time exploring their inner selves, listening to their inner voices, and making decisions that align with their true desires and goals. This introspection makes them incredibly self-aware and focused on maximizing their benefits in life. They may not be the life of the party, but they are often the ones making the most thoughtful decisions. When you engage in conversation with a quiet person, you might notice their tendency to listen more than they speak. This is not because they have nothing to say, but because they are carefully considering your words, analyzing your intentions, and strategizing their response. This makes them unpredictable and difficult to read, which can be intimidating for those who are used to more straightforward interactions. When they do speak, their words often hit the mark, revealing insights or vulnerabilities that others may have missed. This ability to see through the noise and focus on what truly matters is what makes quiet people so powerful. It's important to respect their need for solitude and not take their silence personally. Many quiet people, especially introverts, find energy in being alone. They use this time to recharge, reflect, and pursue their passions without the distractions of the outside world. As an MC once said, "I am an introvert. Except when I'm with very close friends, I feel more comfortable and at ease when I'm alone." For introverts, solitude is not loneliness. It's a space where they can be their true selves, free from the expectations of others. They listen to their hearts, follow their passions, and find joy in the things that matter most to them. Consider Odera Happ, ranked third in the list of the greatest American football legends. Despite her fame, she is an introvert who enjoys the simple pleasures of life, like walking with her dog and admiring nature. This contrasts sharply with the common perception that celebrities crave the spotlight and thrive on public attention. In fact, many introverted celebrities like Albert Einstein have shunned fame. Einstein famously turned down an offer to become the president of Israel, choosing instead to immerse himself in his scientific work, where he found true happiness. This story reminds us that success and fulfillment don't always come from being in the limelight. Sometimes they come from quietly pursuing your passions and staying true to who you are. So, what can we learn from this? The next time you encounter someone who is quiet, don't be quick to judge them as shy or uninterested. Instead, consider the possibility that they are choosing their words carefully, observing the situation, and waiting for the right moment to contribute. Ask yourself, what can I learn from their silence? How can I engage with them in a way that brings out their strengths? And most importantly, how can I apply the lessons of introspection and thoughtful communication to my own life? By respecting the power of silence and the depth of thought that often accompanies it, you can cultivate more meaningful relationships, make more informed decisions, and find greater peace in your own life. Remember, as the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." So choose your thoughts and your words wisely. 3. They possess many hidden strengths. An introvert's choices are perfectly reasonable and shouldn't be criticized. They are simply opting for a lifestyle that makes them feel comfortable, a space where they can truly be themselves without the pressure of external expectations. In today's world, many of us struggle with finding peace within ourselves, especially after becoming so accustomed to the constant noise and distractions of city life and social media. Even if you consider yourself an extrovert, it's crucial to spend more time with yourself. Have you ever wondered why some people seem so grounded and confident? Often it's because they've learned to embrace solitude, to listen to their inner thoughts, and to confront their true selves without the distractions of the outside world. Just an hour each week spent in stillness and reflection can reignite your passion for life, helping you see things more clearly and achieve goals you might have never imagined possible. Quiet people, especially introverts, possess many hidden strengths that can make them formidable opponents if they find the right position. While introverts might not be the most social, this trait can actually become an attractive and powerful asset in the right context. The debate over whether introverts or extroverts are superior is misguided because it's not about being better or worse. It's about different approaches to life. Introverts and extroverts simply have distinct ways of navigating the world. For introverts, the key to success lies in accepting their natural tendencies, discovering their strengths, and finding the right environment where those strengths can flourish. This self-acceptance is crucial because it allows introverts to leverage their unique abilities to their fullest potential. Let me share a story that might resonate with you. A medical device salesperson once worked tirelessly, waking up at 5:25 a.m. every day, making countless phone calls, meeting with numerous doctors, and engaging in endless conversations. Yet despite all his efforts, he couldn't sell a single product for an entire month. Then one day, while marketing his products, he encountered a man in a suit stepping out of a car. The salesperson, eager to learn, ran up to him and asked, "What do you do? How did you get into it? Do you need a university degree to become a stockbroker?" The man replied, "No, you just need to be good with numbers and know how to deal with people." In that moment, the salesperson realized why he wasn't successful at selling products. His strength wasn't in marketing, but in numbers and logic. Since childhood, he had excelled at math, even finishing entire math textbooks in a week. This realization led him to change his career path. He became an investment specialist, then a stockbroker, and eventually started his own company, becoming a millionaire. This isn't just a fictional story. It's the real-life experience of someone who recognized the unique qualities of his introverted personality and used them to his advantage. For introverts, the key is to identify the special aspects of their introverted nature and apply them in a way that suits their strengths, finding a career or path in life where they can thrive. This makes them formidable competitors, especially when they are in the same industry as you. As Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This wisdom is especially relevant to introverts who spend a great deal of time in introspection. They often engage in deep thinking, which allows them to approach life with clarity and purpose. But have you ever considered how this introspective nature could make them formidable? In the right environment, introverts can become leaders, innovators, and strategic thinkers. They often see what others miss because they take the time to reflect and analyze situations deeply. It's important to ask yourself, how do you perceive introverts? Do you see their quietness as a weakness or as a potential strength? Many extroverts mistakenly assume that talkative people are more successful or happier, but the truth is often the opposite. Extroverts might enjoy being the center of attention, but they can sometimes lack the depth and stability that introverts naturally possess. This stability is what allows introverts to build strong, meaningful relationships and achieve lasting success. A British psychologist once noted that quiet people are often better at recognizing and filtering information than their more talkative counterparts. This ability to focus on what truly matters helps them build deeper connections with others and engage in more meaningful interactions. Introverts tend to be knowledgeable and thoughtful individuals, which enriches their lives and broadens their perspectives. If a quiet person doesn't engage with you, it might be because they don't find the conversation meaningful. This might sound harsh, but it's simply how many introverts operate. They prioritize substance over small talk. Another compelling story comes from a famous comedian who admitted that he is two completely different people on and off the stage. On stage, he's outgoing and energetic, but off stage, he's introverted, quiet, and often uncomfortable in social situations.
This duality shows that introverts can adapt to different environments while they spend a lot of time exploring their inner selves, listening to their own voices, and making decisions that align with their
true desires and goals. This introspection makes them incredibly self-aware and focused on maximizing their benefits in life. When you interact with a quiet person, you might notice that they often speak. This isn't because they have nothing to say, but because they are carefully analyzing the situation and planning their response. This makes them unpredictable and difficult to read,
which can be intimidating for those who are used to more straightforward interactions. When they finally do speak, their words often carry a depth and insight that can surprise and even unsettle others. How can you learn from their approach to life? How can you apply the principles of introspection and thoughtful communication in your own life to achieve greater success and fulfillment? Remember, as the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. By embracing the quiet moments and listening to you can discover strengths and opportunities you never knew existed. 4. They may be master manipulators. Beware of those who speak little, for their silence can be a veil for power and manipulation. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." But what if that listening is a tool for something much more cunning? Quiet people often possess a remarkable ability to manipulate the situations and people around them, which is why you should be cautious when dealing with them. Their silence is not a sign of passivity or lack of influence. Rather, it often conceals a deep understanding of human behavior and a strategic mind that can subtly shift the balance of power without others even noticing. Unlike extroverts who openly express their thoughts and emotions, allowing those around them to anticipate their actions, quiet individuals keep their true intentions well hidden. This makes them unpredictable and therefore potentially dangerous, as their motives are not easily discerned. They watch, they listen, and they gather every piece of information, storing it for a time when it can be used to their advantage. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once noted, "It is a great thing to know the season for speech and the season for silence." Quiet people have mastered this art, speaking only when it benefits them the most and using their silence as a tool to observe and manipulate. Their reserved nature allows them to maintain a low profile, which can be especially harmful in competitive environments, such as the workplace. In these settings, a quiet person might subtly undermine colleagues while appearing neutral or even supportive. They can plant ideas in the minds of others, sway opinions subtly, and even shift blame onto others, all while maintaining an innocent and composed facade. This ability to influence and control without being detected makes them formidable, and this is why it might be wise to keep a safe distance. The Stoics teach us the importance of awareness and vigilance in our interactions. As Marcus Aurelius advised, the best way to avenge yourself is not to become like them. By understanding the quiet manipulator's tactics, you can protect yourself from falling into their traps. In personal relationships, the manipulative potential of quiet people can be even more concerning. They may use their silence to control the dynamics of the relationship, subtly guiding emotions and actions without ever raising their voice or making a direct move. This creates a situation where the other person is left feeling uncertain, constantly guessing, and trying to please, a mental and emotional strain that can be exhausting. The manipulator thrives in this environment of ambiguity, where their partner is left questioning their own perceptions and decisions. The famous saying, "Still waters run deep," perfectly encapsulates this dynamic, where the calm surface hides powerful undercurrents that can pull you under if you're not careful. It's important to note that not all quiet people are manipulative, but the potential for such behavior is higher due to their introspective and observant nature. Their ability to see and analyze situations from a distance, combined with a preference for silence, gives them a unique position from which to influence those around them. For example, in a business meeting, the quiet person who speaks up only once or twice might be the one whose words carry the most weight because they have been carefully crafted and timed for maximum impact. This strategic use of silence and speech can make them highly effective in achieving their goals, often without others even realizing they have been influenced. In modern life, where competition and social dynamics are ever present, being aware of these subtle forms of manipulation is crucial. Ask yourself, are you being influenced by someone's silence? Are their words and actions leaving you questioning your own judgment? Recognizing these signs is the first step to protecting yourself from being subtly controlled or swayed in ways that are not immediately obvious. The Stoics remind us to be mindful of the influences around us and to maintain our own inner peace and clarity. As Epictetus said,
No man is free who is not master of himself. By keeping a watchful eye on those who are quiet and understanding the potential power they wield, you can ensure that you remain in control of your own thoughts and decisions. While quiet people may offer great wisdom and insight, it's essential to approach them with a sense of caution. Their silence can be a powerful tool, one that can be used for both good and ill. Whether in the workplace, in social settings, or in personal relationships. Being aware of the potential for manipulation allows you to engage with these individuals in a way that protects your own well-being. Remember, silence is not just the absence of speech. It can be a deliberate choice, a strategy that speaks volumes without uttering a word. By understanding this, you can navigate your interactions with quiet people more effectively, ensuring that you maintain your autonomy and avoid being unknowingly influenced by their silent but strategic actions. Thank you so much for being here and watching this video. I truly appreciate your time and attention. Now I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the idea that it's best to avoid quiet people? Have you had any experiences where someone's quiet nature impacted your relationship or a situation? If you're not sure what to comment, you might share a story about how a quiet person in your life surprised you, either positively or negatively. Your insights could really spark an interesting discussion. 5. They may hold deep resentment. Another reason to be cautious around quiet people is that they may harbor deep-seated resentment. Unlike those who express their frustrations openly, quiet individuals often internalize their anger and dissatisfaction, allowing these negative emotions to fester over time. While they might not immediately voice their displeasure or show any outward signs of being upset, this does not mean they are unaffected by the actions of others. In fact, their silence can be misleading, masking a long memory for perceived slights and injustices that they nurse silently, waiting for the right moment to act on them. Consider this. Have you ever worked with someone who rarely spoke up in meetings, only to find out later that they were quietly harboring resentment towards a project or a colleague? Perhaps they never voiced their concerns, but their actions, or lack thereof, spoke volumes. They might engage in passive-aggressive behavior, like withholding important information, failing to complete tasks on time, or subtly undermining the efforts of others. These quiet individuals may not confront issues directly, but their resentment can still cause significant harm, especially in a professional setting where teamwork and communication are crucial. In personal relationships, the impact of their hidden resentment can be even more damaging. A quiet person who feels wronged might withdraw emotionally, becoming increasingly distant and uncommunicative. You might misinterpret their silence as acceptance or indifference, but in reality, it could be a sign of deep emotional turmoil. Over time, this unresolved resentment can lead to a breakdown in the relationship, as the quiet person becomes more and more disconnected, or worse, seeks subtle forms of revenge that are difficult to detect. Let me share a story that illustrates this point. A friend of mine once confided in me about his quiet and seemingly passive partner. For years, they had what appeared to be a peaceful relationship, with very few arguments or disagreements. However, as time passed, my friend noticed that his partner began to withdraw, becoming less affectionate and more distant. It wasn't until much later that he realized his partner had been quietly harboring resentment over various issues, things that had never been openly discussed. This unspoken tension eventually led to the end of their relationship, leaving my friend wondering how things might have been different if only they had communicated more openly. So, what can we learn from this? How can we better understand the quiet people in our lives and avoid falling into the trap of assuming that their silence means everything is fine? It's important to recognize that their reluctance to express their feelings can prevent healthy communication and lead to unresolved issues that linger and grow over time. If you're in a relationship with a quiet person, whether it's a personal or professional one, it's essential to create a space where they feel safe and comfortable expressing their emotions. Ask open-ended questions, encourage them to share their thoughts, and be patient. Sometimes it takes a little extra effort to draw them out, but it's worth it to prevent misunderstandings from turning into long-lasting resentment. Remember the words of the Stoic philosopher Seneca, who said, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." This is especially true for quiet people, who may internalize their anger until it becomes a powerful and destructive force. By fostering open communication and addressing issues as they arise, you can help diffuse these emotions before they have a chance to cause harm. In modern life, where we are often encouraged to speak up and express ourselves, it's easy to overlook the silent turmoil that quiet people may be experiencing. But just because someone isn't vocal about their feelings doesn't mean those feelings don't exist. In fact, their silence can sometimes indicate that they are processing emotions on a deeper level, one that requires careful attention and understanding. By being aware of this, you can navigate your relationships with quiet individuals more effectively, ensuring that you address any underlying issues before they have a chance to escalate. The key lesson here is to not take silence at face value. Whether in the workplace or in personal relationships, it's crucial to approach quiet people with a sense of curiosity and empathy, recognizing that their calm exterior may be hiding a wealth of unresolved emotions. By fostering open communication and making a conscious effort to understand their perspective, you can help prevent the buildup of resentment and maintain healthier, more fulfilling relationships. So the next time you encounter someone who seems quiet or withdrawn, don't assume that everything is fine. Take the time to reach out and listen, because their silence might be telling you more than words ever could. 6. They may have hidden agendas. Another unsettling aspect of dealing with quiet people is the potential for hidden agendas. Their reserved and calm demeanor can often conceal their true intentions, making it difficult for others to discern what they are genuinely thinking or planning. While they may seem harmless, even trustworthy on the surface, their inner world might be filled with intricate plans and strategies that could unexpectedly impact those around them. Have you ever wondered what lies behind their silence? Could it be that their quietness is not just a personality trait, but a deliberate strategy to mask their real motives? In professional environments, this can be particularly problematic. A quiet individual might appear to be a cooperative team player, blending in with the group and avoiding conflict. But beneath this calm exterior, they might be working towards their own goals that could directly conflict with the objectives of the team. Because they are not vocal about their intentions, they can quietly pursue these personal ambitions without drawing attention. This can lead to situations where others are caught off guard by the quiet person's actions, only realizing too late that they were being outmaneuvered. It's like playing a game of chess with someone who doesn't show their hand until the very last move, when it's already too late to respond. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing." In this context, dealing with quiet people requires a similar level of vigilance and readiness, as their true intentions might be revealed only when they've already taken a decisive step. In personal relationships, the stakes can be even higher. A quiet person with a hidden agenda might use their silence as a tool to gain trust and lull others into a false sense of security. They might seem like the perfect partner, friend, or confidant, always listening, never arguing, and rarely demanding anything in return. But this silence could be a calculated move to manipulate situations to their advantage, sometimes at the expense of those who trust them. For example, they might subtly steer conversations and decisions in a way that benefits them, all while maintaining the appearance of being supportive and selfless. This kind of manipulation is dangerous because it's so hard to detect. By the time the other person realizes what's happening, the damage may already be done. This behavior can manifest in various ways. It could be as subtle as influencing decisions in a relationship to suit their own needs, or as significant as plotting a major change in the dynamics of the relationship that benefits them while leaving the other person at a disadvantage. The quiet person's silence and seeming passivity make it easy to underestimate their potential for such behavior. But this is precisely what makes them so effective at it. Others might view them as stabilizing forces in their lives, unaware that they are being subtly controlled or manipulated. Consider a story from modern life. A man who was in a long-term business partnership with someone he considered a close friend. This partner was quiet, always agreeable, and never seemed to cause any trouble. Over the years, the quiet partner gained more and more control over the business operations, all while the other partner remained unaware of the growing imbalance. It wasn't until the quiet partner made a sudden, unexpected move to take over the business entirely that the other partner realized he had been outmaneuvered. The silence had been a cover for a well-planned strategy that ultimately left one partner blindsided and betrayed. This story highlights the dangers of underestimating those who are silent, as their hidden agendas can have profound and often painful consequences. So, how can we protect ourselves from such situations? The key is to remain vigilant and not take a quiet person's actions or silence at face value. It's important to ask yourself, what might be motivating their silence? Are they truly aligned with the goals of the group or the relationship, or could they have other intentions? By staying alert and questioning the motives behind their actions, or lack of actions, you can better understand the dynamics at play and avoid being caught off guard by their hidden agendas. As the famous saying goes, still waters run deep. This reminds us that just because someone appears calm and unassuming, it doesn't mean they are not capable of profound and sometimes unsettling actions beneath the surface. The lesson here is not to view all quiet people with suspicion, but rather to approach your interactions with them with a healthy sense of awareness. Silence can be powerful, and when used strategically, it can be a tool for manipulation. By being mindful of this potential, you can better navigate your relationships and professional interactions, ensuring that you are not unknowingly being influenced or outmaneuvered by someone who keeps their true intentions hidden. Remember, the quietest voice in the room may very well be the one with the most to say, if you know how to listen for what's not being said. 7. They can be unpredictable under stress. Beware the calm exterior of a quiet person, for beneath that serene surface may lie a storm waiting to break. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. This wisdom is particularly relevant when considering the unpredictable nature of quiet people under stress. Quiet people often present themselves as calm, composed, and in control, but under the surface, their internal world might be a different story, especially when they're under stress. Their tendency to internalize emotions, rather than express them openly, can lead to a buildup of pressure that eventually finds a release in unpredictable and sometimes alarming ways. While they may seem like the steady and reliable colleague or the easygoing friend who never seems ruffled, this exterior can be misleading. When faced with significant stress or pressure, the emotions they've kept bottled up can suddenly erupt, leading to behavior that seems out of character and unexpected. It's like a volcano that has been dormant for years, with no visible signs of unrest until one day it erupts with force, catching everyone off guard. This unpredictability can be unsettling, particularly in environments where stability and clear communication are key. In the workplace, the unpredictability of a quiet person under stress can be especially concerning. Imagine working alongside a colleague who has always been the epitome of reliability, never causing a stir, and always getting the job done. But then, during a particularly high-pressure situation, they suddenly make a rash decision or lash out in frustration, completely disrupting the flow of work. This kind of behavior can lead to misunderstandings, disrupt teamwork, and even cause conflicts that could have been avoided if the individual had felt comfortable expressing their feelings earlier. The Stoic principle of emotional regulation is vital here, reminding us that unchecked emotions can lead to destructive outcomes. As Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In the context of dealing with quiet individuals, it's crucial to foster an environment where they feel safe to voice their concerns before reaching a breaking point. In personal relationships, the unpredictability of a quiet person under stress can be even more alarming. A partner or friend who seems to be handling everything well on the surface might actually be struggling deeply with internal pressures. They may not express these struggles openly, either out of a desire to avoid burdening others or because they believe they can manage it on their own. However, when they finally reach their breaking point, their actions can be drastic and surprising. This could manifest as sudden emotional outbursts, impulsive decisions, or a complete withdrawal from the relationship, leaving their loved ones confused and hurt. For instance, consider a situation where a typically reserved partner suddenly decides to end a long-term relationship with little explanation, leaving the other person bewildered and heartbroken. This kind of scenario underscores the importance of understanding the silent struggles that quiet people may be enduring. It's a reminder that silence doesn't always mean acceptance or contentment. Sometimes it's a sign of deeper turmoil. Because quiet individuals often keep their feelings to themselves, those around them might be unaware of the internal stress they are dealing with. This lack of awareness makes it challenging to provide support or address issues before they escalate. It's easy to assume that someone who isn't speaking up isn't experiencing any problems, but this assumption can be dangerously misleading. Just because someone isn't vocalizing their stress doesn't mean they aren't feeling it. This is where being attentive and empathetic becomes essential. Pay attention to subtle signs that might indicate stress, changes in behavior, withdrawal, or even physical signs like fatigue or irritability. By being mindful of these signs, you can help prevent situations from reaching a crisis point. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus advised, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This advice is particularly relevant when dealing with quiet people, listening, not just to their words, but to the unspoken cues that may reveal their true state of mind. In modern life, where stress is often a constant companion, understanding the dynamics of how different people handle pressure is crucial. Quiet individuals who might appear to be the most composed can actually be the ones who are struggling the most internally. Their unpredictability under stress isn't just a quirk of personality, it's a potential hazard that needs to be acknowledged and addressed. The key takeaway here is not to assume that silence equals peace. Instead, approach quiet individuals with care and offer them opportunities to express themselves in a safe and supportive environment. Whether in the workplace or in personal relationships, creating a space where they feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and emotions can make a significant difference. By doing so, you can help them manage their stress more effectively, preventing the kind of sudden and unpredictable behavior that can have serious consequences. Don't let the calm exterior of a quiet person fool you. Beneath that surface, there may be a storm brewing, one that could break with little warning if not properly understood and addressed. By staying vigilant, offering support, and encouraging open communication, you can help mitigate the risks associated with this unpredictability, ensuring that your interactions with quiet people are not only peaceful, but also genuinely harmonious. 8. They often have high standards for themselves and others. Quiet people often set exceptionally high standards, not just for themselves but for everyone around them. While this might initially seem like a positive trait, after all, striving for excellence can lead to great achievements. It can also create significant tension and strain in both professional and personal relationships. Their perfectionist tendencies can make them overly critical, both of their own actions and those of others, which can lead to misunderstandings and discomfort for those who interact with them. Imagine working alongside someone who never voices their dissatisfaction, but silently judges every move you make. Over time, this quiet scrutiny can create an atmosphere of unease and frustration, as colleagues may feel unfairly judged or inadequate, while the quiet individual grows increasingly frustrated with what they perceive as incompetence. In a professional setting, a quiet person with high standards might never openly express their dissatisfaction, but their silent judgments can still create a palpable tension. Colleagues might sense that they are not meeting these unspoken expectations, leading to a feeling of walking on eggshells. This can breed resentment on both sides. The colleagues might feel they are being unfairly held to an impossible standard, while the quiet person may become more and more disillusioned by what they see as a lack of effort or quality from their peers. This dynamic can be particularly challenging in team environments where collaboration and open communication are key. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." This rings especially true here, as a quiet person with high standards might be so focused on their ideal of perfection that they miss opportunities for growth and collaboration. In personal relationships, these high standards can be even more problematic. A quiet person might have very specific expectations about how things should be done, from the smallest daily tasks to the overall management of the relationship. When their partner or friends don't meet these expectations, the quiet individual might withdraw emotionally, leaving the other person feeling confused and hurt by the lack of communication. This withdrawal can be subtle at first, perhaps manifesting as a reluctance to engage in conversations or a decrease in affectionate gestures. But over time, it can create a rift that is difficult to bridge, especially if the quiet person continues to hold on to their unspoken expectations without ever giving the other person a chance to understand or meet them. This situation is reminiscent of the Stoic concept of apatheia, or freedom from emotional disturbance, which quiet individuals might strive for by maintaining control over their environment and relationships. However, this can backfire if their expectations are so rigid that they leave no room for the natural imperfections of human interaction. Moreover, the high standards that quiet people set for themselves can lead to significant internal stress and burnout. They may push themselves relentlessly to achieve perfection in every aspect of their lives, and when they inevitably fall short, as everyone does at times, they might engage in intense self-criticism. This internal pressure can spill over into their interactions with others, making them seem cold, distant, or overly harsh. Have you ever known someone who appears to be their own worst critic, never satisfied with anything they do? This relentless pursuit of perfection can create a cycle of stress and disappointment that not only affects the individual, but also those around them, as their dissatisfaction with themselves can manifest as dissatisfaction with others. The Stoic philosopher Seneca advised, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This wisdom can be applied to those who set such high standards that they are never content with their achievements or the efforts of others. Understanding that quiet people often carry these high expectations can be crucial in managing relationships with them. Recognizing that their critical nature is often directed inward as much as outward can help foster empathy and understanding. However, it's also important to protect your own well-being by setting boundaries if their expectations become too burdensome. It's essential to communicate openly with them, encouraging them to express their concerns rather than keeping them bottled up. By doing so, you can prevent misunderstandings and build a more balanced and healthy relationship. As the saying goes, perfection is the enemy of progress. This is a reminder that while striving for excellence is admirable, it's also important to accept that imperfection is a natural part of life. By acknowledging this, both quiet individuals and those who interact with them can find greater peace and satisfaction in their relationships and endeavors. In conclusion, while quiet people's high standards can drive them to achieve great things, they can also create significant challenges in their relationships with others. It's important to approach these individuals with empathy and understanding, while also being mindful of your own needs and boundaries. By fostering open communication and realistic expectations, you can help create a more harmonious and supportive environment for everyone involved. If you've made it this far, you're truly seeking wisdom. Drop a comment saying, "I see the silence," to show you're committed to understanding the deeper truths. Stick around, there's so much more to discover. 9. They may struggle with emotional availability. In a world where emotions often run high and open communication is valued, the quiet ones among us may seem like a refreshing oasis of calm. Yet, beneath their composed exterior lies a hidden challenge that can deeply impact relationships, an emotional inaccessibility that can be as isolating as it is subtle. For those who are quiet, the struggle to connect on an emotional level may not be immediately apparent, but its effects can reverberate through every close connection they have, leaving partners, friends, and loved ones feeling shut out and disconnected. Quiet people often project an image of serenity and control, a seemingly unshakable calm that many admire. However, this calm exterior can sometimes hide a difficulty with emotional availability, a challenge that is not always visible but can deeply affect their relationships. The quiet person's tendency to internalize their emotions rather than express them openly can lead to significant issues, particularly in intimate relationships where emotional sharing is crucial for building trust and understanding. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once noted, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, reminding us that what is internalized can profoundly affect our outward behavior and connections with others. Emotional availability refers to one's ability to openly share feelings, respond to the emotional needs of others, and engage in meaningful communication about emotional experiences. For many quiet individuals, this is an area of life where they struggle. Some may fear that expressing their emotions will make them appear weak or vulnerable. This fear can stem from past experiences where emotional expression led to conflict, rejection, or pain, leading them to believe that it's safer to keep their emotions locked inside. Others might have simply developed a habit of self-reliance, preferring to manage their feelings on their own rather than risk the complexities of sharing them with others. This internalization creates a barrier to intimacy in relationships, whether they are romantic, familial, or platonic. Partners of quiet individuals may find themselves feeling increasingly distant from someone who, on the surface, seems content and unaffected. This emotional disconnect can lead to frustration, loneliness, and a sense of rejection, as attempts to reach out and connect on a deeper level are met with silence or minimal response. The quiet person may not even realize the extent of the impact their emotional inaccessibility has on those around them, often mistaking their presence or listening for adequate emotional support, not recognizing that their lack of expression can be perceived as indifference or detachment. A significant challenge in these relationships is the quiet person's lack of awareness of their behavior. They may genuinely believe that they are being supportive by simply being there, not understanding that emotional engagement requires more than just physical presence. It requires verbal affirmation, shared vulnerability, and the expression of feelings. This misalignment of expectations can create a cycle of misunderstanding, where the quiet person retreats further into their shell in response to their partner's dissatisfaction, while the partner feels increasingly shut out and unappreciated. Navigating relationships with emotionally unavailable quiet individuals requires a delicate balance of patience, understanding, and gentle encouragement. It's important to create a safe and supportive environment where they feel comfortable expressing their thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment or conflict. This might involve slowly encouraging them to open up, asking open-ended questions that invite deeper conversation, and reassuring them that their emotions are valid and welcome. As Epictetus wisely advised, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak, emphasizing the importance of listening carefully and responding with empathy. However, it's also crucial to recognize when the lack of emotional availability is creating an unhealthy dynamic in the relationship. If repeated efforts to foster open communication are met with resistance, or if the quiet person constantly avoids emotional engagement, it may be necessary to reassess the relationship's sustainability. Emotional reciprocity, where both parties feel heard, understood, and emotionally connected, is essential for any healthy relationship. Without it, long-term dissatisfaction, frustration, and even emotional harm can result, as one partner feels constantly deprived of the emotional support they need. 10. They may avoid conflict to a fault. Quiet people are often seen as peaceful and easygoing, preferring to sidestep unnecessary arguments and disputes. While this might seem like a positive trait, after all, who doesn't appreciate someone who avoids drama and keeps the peace? There's a flip side to this coin that can cause more harm than good, especially when conflict avoidance becomes a default reaction. Avoiding conflict at all costs can lead to serious issues that fester beneath the surface, creating resentment, misunderstanding, and a breakdown in communication. These unresolved issues don't just disappear, they build up over time, slowly eroding the foundation of relationships, whether personal or professional. Have you ever noticed how a small, unaddressed problem can grow into something much bigger and more destructive? That's what happens when conflict is avoided rather than confronted. What could have been a simple conversation becomes a significant barrier to trust and understanding. Conflict is a natural part of life, something we all must face in our relationships, at work, and even within ourselves. It's through conflict that we air our differences, clear up misunderstandings, and set boundaries. But for those who are naturally quiet and conflict-averse, the idea of confrontation can be deeply uncomfortable, even frightening. They might choose silence or withdrawal rather than risk the discomfort of a disagreement, believing that staying out of it will keep the peace. But what if avoiding conflict is actually causing more harm than the conflict itself? By not addressing issues head-on, quiet individuals may inadvertently allow problems to grow, leading to a buildup of resentment not only within themselves, but also among those around them. This resentment can manifest in subtle ways, perhaps through passive-aggressive behavior or a noticeable distance in the relationship, signs that something is wrong, but nothing is being said. Moreover, avoiding conflict can create an unhealthy power imbalance in relationships. When one person constantly avoids confrontation, the other may unconsciously or consciously take advantage of this, pushing their own needs and desires to the forefront while the quiet person's needs and boundaries are overlooked. This dynamic can lead to feelings of frustration and helplessness for the quiet individual, who might start to believe that their needs are less important than those of others. This can erode their sense of self-worth, leaving them feeling undervalued and disrespected. The quiet person might begin to internalize the idea that their voice doesn't matter, which only reinforces their tendency to avoid conflict, creating a vicious cycle that can be difficult to break. This avoidance also has broader implications, particularly in group settings like the workplace or family dynamics. When a quiet person refrains from voicing their dissenting opinion, important perspectives are missed and decisions are made without the benefit of a full discussion. This can lead to poor decision-making, as the group's choices are based on incomplete information. In the long run, this can impact the success of the group and leave its members dissatisfied, all because one person's valuable input was never shared. Have you ever been in a meeting where you had a crucial point to make, but held back, thinking it wasn't worth the potential disagreement? How did that decision affect the outcome? Often, the cost of staying silent far outweighs the temporary discomfort of speaking up. Supporting quiet individuals who tend to avoid conflict involves creating a space where they feel safe to express their concerns without fear of judgment or retaliation. Encouraging them to share their thoughts in a constructive manner, perhaps by asking open-ended questions or actively listening without interrupting, can help them build the confidence they need to engage in healthy conflict resolution. It's also important to equip them with the skills necessary to navigate disagreements effectively, such as assertive communication and active listening. By learning how to handle conflicts in a way that protects their interests and respects the perspectives of others, quiet people can become more empowered and contribute more effectively to group dynamics. At the same time, those who interact with quiet individuals must be proactive in recognizing the signs of conflict avoidance. This might involve regularly checking in with the quiet person to ensure their needs and concerns are being heard, even if they are not vocally expressing them. It's crucial to foster an environment where all voices are valued and where differences can be discussed openly and respectfully. When everyone feels comfortable speaking up, conflicts can be resolved more quickly and effectively, leading to stronger, more resilient relationships. In modern life, where communication is key to success in both personal and professional arenas, avoiding conflict can be more detrimental than facing it head-on. The lesson here is clear. While it may be tempting to avoid conflict in the name of peace, doing so can lead to far more significant issues down the line. Instead of sidestepping difficult conversations, we should embrace them as opportunities for growth and understanding. Remember, as the Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." By confronting conflict directly and with an open heart, we not only resolve the issue at hand, but also strengthen our relationships and our own inner resilience. So, the next time you're tempted to stay silent in the face of conflict, ask yourself, is avoiding this issue really the best path forward, or am I just postponing the inevitable? The answer might just be the key to healthier, more fulfilling interactions with those around you. As we draw this journey to a close, it's crucial to reflect on the profound insights we've uncovered about the nature of quiet individuals. Silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is a potent force, rich with meaning and influence. Quiet people, with their introspective nature, often carry a depth of thought and observation that is easily overlooked in a world that tends to value loudness and assertiveness. Yet beneath their calm exterior lies a world of potential, both constructive and, at times, dangerous. Through understanding the complexities of quiet individuals, we can better navigate our relationships, whether personal or professional. We've explored how their silence can signify deep thought and careful consideration, but also how it can be a strategic tool for influence or manipulation. We've looked at the potential hidden within their quiet demeanor, hidden strengths, high standards, and even the possibility of deep-seated resentment or hidden agendas. All these aspects serve as reminders that silence can be just as impactful, if not more so, than words. So, as you move forward, I encourage you to approach the quiet people in your life with a renewed sense of awareness and respect. Recognize that their silence may conceal much more than it reveals, and that understanding this can lead to more meaningful and successful interactions. Whether it's in your personal relationships, your workplace, or social circles, being mindful of the power dynamics that silence can create will help you engage with others more thoughtfully and protect yourself from potential misunderstandings or manipulations. If you found this video enlightening and feel that it has provided you with valuable insights, I invite you to show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel, Stoic in Your Life. By subscribing and turning on notifications, you ensure that you won't miss out on our future content, where we continue to explore the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and its practical applications in today's fast-paced world. Thank you for joining me on this journey of discovery. I hope the insights shared today will help you cultivate a more thoughtful and reflective approach to your interactions with the quiet individuals in your life. Stay tuned for more content that aims to inspire and guide you in leading a more intentional, stoic life.